mate, you alright?
Not bad, how are you?
How's it going? What are you up to?
Just, as you see, taking some pictures and out of your cars and out there.
Oh, okay.
That's all. Yeah. And you are, sorry?
Police officer.
And your collar number?
Are you an auditor, are you? Or are you...
And your collar number, please?
I'd have to give you my collar number. It's my identification on my shoulder there.
And then if I can't read, it's not your policy to identify for members of the public?
I don't need to.
No, it's not identified, no.
Okay. Are you here to just cause issues, or are you here to just have a
No,
chat?
I'm just here to take pictures and that, that's all. As I said, I've just noticed as I was walking down to take pictures, your colleague's window was open, I could see the screen, made them aware of it.
Okay, have they sorted that?
Yeah, they closed the window,
Okay.
fine. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Cool. Okay, I'm sure we're not here to cause you a problem. I'm sure you're not here to cause a problem. We're just,
You know, your colleagues not in uniform refuse to identify while engaging in a policing activity. Not fantastic, is it? It's against policy. You are required to identify. You're engaging in a stop and account. You are required to identify. Because if I have any complaints, how am I supposed to make that complaint if you haven't kept yourself to the accountability standards that the force requires? So, you know, again, you refuse to identify properly because, again, you don't know that I can read, so you're refusing to identify properly. Yes, you're in uniform, but again, if I want to make a complaint against you...
You can give the time and date and the location where you are. My body cam's recording, so
oh, is it?
It can all be...
How come it's taking you this...
The encounter begins as a routine inquiry, but quickly becomes a test of police transparency. The auditor, lawfully filming, immediately asks the officer for his collar number. Instead of stating it clearly, the officer deflects and gestures to his shoulder. This is poor practice. Policy requires officers to clearly identify themselves to ensure accountability, particularly for those with visual impairments. The auditor rightly challenges this and also highlights the officer's failure to announce that his body-worn camera was recording at the outset. While the initial approach may be understandable, the officer's defensive attitude and disregard for basic identification procedures fall below expected professional standards.
Your body cam's recording.
Talking.
And is the policy not to, at the first, most practical opportunity to
That
allow
was the most practical time to inform
Was it?
you.
So, because you come in and gone hands-on with me?
I haven't gone hands on.
Exactly, so why is not the first thing that you say, good afternoon or morning,
what
even?
you're doing, because that's the first question I asked you, and then we've had a conversation, and now I've told you.
Yeah, but the first most practical opportunity is to say, good, by the way, you are being recorded.
Okay.
Otherwise, you could be covertly recording me under the Regulations of Investigatory Powers Act, couldn't you?
But that's not happening, so don't worry about that.
It could, because it took you X amount of time to alert me when there was plenty. The only situation where it's not practicable at the first opportunity is if you're going into a hands-on situation.
Is it?
Any other time, there's no reason, and this has been dealt with in the tribunal by the tribunal that deals with the REAPER Act, that the first most practical opportunity is when you approach somebody. If you have your camera on or you turn it on, if you approach with your camera on, you should alert them when you approach, unless you're going hands-on. If you turn it on whilst engaging in a conversation, you should turn it on, and then once it's recording, so it's stated on the camera, by the way, you are being recorded for my safety and your safety, blah, blah, blah. You have the right to do it, same way that I have the right to do it. It's not a problem, it's the notification that's the problem.
Okay.
You know?
But I've notified you at a time that I think is practical, so I've done that, so it's fine.
Okay, you can justify that to a tribunal, it's fine, no worries.
So what are you
so you're going to try to identify yourself properly yet?
No, I'm happy.
You're happy, yeah?
Yeah.
Would you like to identify yourself, or would you like a complaint as well, sir?
Sir, can I ask you a question? Before my colleague steps in, so my name is PC2376.
Thank you, so that's how it's done, thank you.
We now see a sharp contrast between unprofessional and commendable policing. The first officer continues to argue, wrongly insisting he notified the auditor about his camera at an appropriate time. However, the arrival of a female colleague immediately changes the dynamic. When asked to identify herself, she does so clearly and without hesitation, stating her name and collar number. This simple act instantly de-escalates the situation and earns thanks from the civilian. Her conduct is a textbook example of professionalism, showing how following procedure builds trust, while refusal only fuels hostility and suspicion.
Yeah, I was obviously made aware that the window was open.
Yeah.
And he's got concerns because of data protection and that you might have recorded something on your phone from the screens.
If there is anything, I'm not sure if there is or not. If anything is captured on there, that will be evidence for me to report that to the Information Commissioner's office, because obviously the onus of data protection is on the organisation, not on whoever sees that information.
You don't expect someone to stick their head through the window.
I didn't stick my head through a window.
So
I saw it from a public
because
place.
somebody else's information, this is a secure site. Well,
I understand that.
not as secure as we'd like.
Well, no,
it to
exactly.
be.
It's not secure at all, is it? Really?
No. We are trying to work on that, but unfortunately, you know, you have to do with what you've got to
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Even a bit of signage saying no unauthorised access beyond this point would go a long way, because I do respect signs like that.
No,
you know.
okay. I will take
But I did have a look around, and there is
I will
nothing
genuinely
there.
take that to the senior leadership team, because
Fantastic.
I think that is fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are trying to redo everything. Yeah, you know,
Okay.
financially, we have to wait until the
That's
budget.
right, it's quite a
and
small
everything,
town,
and
isn't it?
it's
Lower
exactly,
priority.
you know
Yeah,
what
I get it. Yeah.
We get shoved right to the bottom type
Yeah.
of thing. We're right on the borders, you know, what I mean, between different forces and that. So it is totally. I understand where you're coming from, and I'll pass it on to the senior leadership team.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I've just got concerns about the data protection that's on that video. Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Because that's somebody else's private stuff and that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we obviously learn from things like that. So you've pointed it out. They've closed the window. It is
Fantastic.
really hot in there. We've got no air
Again, I
conditioning.
completely understand that,
You know
but
what I
obviously
mean?
data protection takes priority over that, unfortunately.
The focus then shifts to the alleged concern, a potential data breach caused by a computer screen visible through an open window. The female officer handles this constructively. The auditor correctly points out that responsibility for securing sensitive data rests with the police, and that capturing such information would fall under the remit of the Information Commissioner's office. This demonstrates a strong understanding of data protection law. When the auditor suggests that a simple no unauthorized access sign could improve security, the officer listens, agrees it's a valid point, and commits to passing the feedback on. This is effective community policing in action.
Safety data protection
what's
takes
being
priority
recorded.
over
Does
that
that go
subject.
live? Is that a live?
It's not. I'm not live
No.
streaming. No.
If there is something, would you delete that?
Not necessarily delete it, but I would make it anonymous. I would blur it out if there is anything. If I were to post it anywhere,
Yeah, but
absolutely.
it's not their fault. You know what I mean? It's the
No, of course. Obviously, I've raised the issue of I've raised the
Exactly.
issue of data protection, and obviously I
Absolutely.
raise it as an issue because I do see it as an issue.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
going to go share that information. That would be very hypocritical of me,
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
it?
absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
So if there is anything captured on the camera, it won't be made available to the public. It will be forwarded to the ICO.
That's fine. Yeah. Can I
part of evidence.
take your details?
No,
can
I'm
I,
okay,
can I
thank
take
you.
your name?
No,
at
I'm
least?
alright,
Just
thank you.
first name, so I know who I'm speaking to.
No, I'm alright, thank you.
So you've got my calling number, but I can't take yours.
Yeah, but as a Crown servant, obviously you have issues of accountability when dealing with members of the public, and that's
I'm just
why.
being
And that's why.
polite
Yeah, I
asking
know.
your first name.
I
I
know.
don't even know
I know.
anything
But then
else, so I
obviously
know who I-
that coupled with my image, which obviously he's notified me is recording.
Yeah, obviously we do that because I'm open and honest. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
We record things so that you can see what we do.
Yeah, yeah.
And we can
Absolutely,
see,
I
you know what
completely
mean?
agree
So-
with the use of body cameras.
because
Completely.
That's the thing is that
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
hide saying, "Oh no, I didn't say this to this man," or "This man didn't say anything."
No,
to me."
exactly the same
That
reason
is
why I record any interaction I have with you as well.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
why we record everything. I have to protect my back. Because the
Of
amount
course.
people have said we do things,
Of
and
course,
we don't.
Yeah.
You know
but
what I mean?
with your collar number and that, obviously, you're bound. You have to identify. You did
Yeah,
it correctly
you can see,
verbally
I
because
mean,
you
the
can't
uniform,
guarantee
there's
that
my
I
collar
can
number
read.
there, you know what I mean?
But you have to wear that for
236.
accountability reasons. That's why I'm entitled to have that, because you're dealing with a member of the public in a
Absolutely.
stop and account situation. Accountability, you have to identify yourself.
The auditor is asked for his personal details, which he is not legally required to provide. He politely refuses, and the officers correctly accept this without challenge. He is also asked whether he would delete any sensitive footage, explaining that he would blur it before publication, a responsible and proportionate approach. The key takeaway here is the impact of professionalism. The female officer resolves the situation calmly through respectful communication, while her colleague's lack of transparency continues to undermine public confidence. Accountability is not a barrier to policing. It is fundamental to it.
For that exact reason,
Yeah,
which he doesn't seem to understand. And sorry, we got interrupted. Would you like the opportunity to identify?
4988 PC Biffin.
Sorry,
PC Biffin.
and your collar number, please?
4988.
4988. There you go. Thank you. Would you like another opportunity?
No, I'm fine.
But-
No, you're
Listen,
fine.
it
Okay, so
doesn't
you're just going to be an absolute idiot
No,
about it.
he's
not
got,
gonna know.
Well, I mean, you
he's
are.
got other jobs and that, and you know we have to rely
Yes,
on
but
that.
you have a collar number for the specific reason, as we've just heard us discuss, for accountability reasons. You're making a very large assumption that I have the ability to read that my eyesight is good enough to read that.
These two officers have identified, and if you do
Yep.
need my details, they can be.
Okay, that's still,
when you make your complaint,
again, that's not
fine.
your policy,
Okay,
so that's fine. I'll make a complaint to you,
Okay,
Chief
not a problem
Constable,
at
that's
all.
not a problem.
Not a problem
Actually, I'll
at
probably go straight through the IOPC, because otherwise it goes to your local PSD and gets kicked down and disregarded.
That's not a problem
Yeah,
at all. If you
no
just do
worries.
that, that's absolutely
Just get a
fine.
nice picture of your face as well, so I can just make sure that goes to the right person.
Yeah, no problem.
Is there anything else I can
Lovely.
help you with today, sir?
No, like I said, you know, obviously, I've made the issue of that window, and I've made that aware.
Which I'm literally going to go speak to my inspector.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. Obviously, if I were to say to come back in half an hour and I walk back and that window's open again, you're now willfully and negligently disregarding data protection, and that's fantastic. So I've been to places where they close it because I'm there, and then I come back at like 10, 15 minutes, half hour late, and then just reopened it because they think I've gone, and that's not the point of what I'm trying to raise.
The auditor gives the first officer one final opportunity to identify himself properly, but once again the officer refuses. This is a critical failure. Police identification is an individual responsibility, not a collective one. The compliance of colleagues does not excuse his own refusal. At this point, what should have remained a routine interaction becomes a clear example of an officer obstructing accountability. The professionalism shown by the female officer is now overshadowed by her colleague's stubborn and unprofessional conduct.
People on the site, they are trying to get gates and all of that, but it's planning permission and all of that. So unfortunately, we have to work with what we have. Just hope people, members of the public, would be, understanding of that.
Like I said, just to do police cars and that, it's a local force just trying to come and have a look around really and see where the local money's going.
And, definitely not here, mate.
Definitely not here, apparently. Well, thank you you've been very lovely and professional. I appreciate that. So you've told me you're recording. Have you been recording?
I am recording it.
You are recording. So again, the same issue that I raised with him. Is there a reason you haven't notified me of that? Is there?
It's not necessary. They're all free of recording.
No. You told me that you're recording. You didn't say we're all recording you. You told me that you're recording. That's your responsibility. It's his responsibility to let me know that he's recording me.
It's not necessary.
It is necessary. Would you like to refer to the College of Policing guidance? Because
no, we're fine. Thank you.
No, you're fine, exactly. Because you're not interested in you're not interested in actually learning what your policies are and adhering to them, are you? You're just one of those tyrants that just wants to go around and do what you want to do, ignore your policies. No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not interested in talking to you. I'll rather talk to your colleagues. You're just a bit of a tyrant, and I have no interest in talking to you. Yep.
The auditor's frustration is now evident as he labels the officer a tyrant for refusing to follow basic policy. While the language is strong, it reflects a common public reaction to perceived secrecy and evasion. The officer's response is deeply concerning. Whether intended as a threat or not, it can easily be interpreted as an attempt to intimidate and discourage scrutiny. An officer's duty is to de-escalate, yet his words and attitude only escalate the situation, reinforcing the civilian's accusations of unprofessional behavior.
If you disagree, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're not going to follow your policies on your guidance and you have no interest in learning them, because I can refer you to the guidance in which it tells you about your body-worn cameras, in which it tells you about identifying yourself. But again, you have no interest in it, so what's the point in talking to you any further? But yeah, again, thank you. You've been very professional. Straight away identified yourself, told me that you're recording a little bit later than I would have liked. But
sorry, yeah, I was my colleague spoke to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you weren't the one directly engaging with me. I was talking to him, so I understand that. But he had every opportunity.
That's fine. Like I said, I'm going to go back and speak to my inspector. Authorised personnel signs. Even if we can do that.
Like again, not everybody's going to respect those signs, but at least then you've got the footing of you've been notified of trespassing before you've entered the site.
We want them to be able to come and ask us for help. That's what we're here for. In their times of stress and everything like that. We don't want to be unwelcoming either.
No, of course. Like I said to your colleagues when they first came out, the non-uniform, you've got a sign on that door which is clearly for public information that says, if the office is closed, call 101. That's obviously for public information.
No apology or clarification is offered, further cementing the impression of hostility. At this stage, the female officer commendably steps in to disengage, recognizing that the interaction has become counterproductive. Her efforts to de-escalate are professional, but the damage has already been done. The first officer's conduct leaves the public feeling threatened rather than protected, a fundamental failure of the police duty of care.
Exactly, so...
We don't have a closed phone cell.
No.
So you can come in. Obviously, we have to try and protect ourselves because you get members of the public that try to do harm to the police. They don't like the police, you know what I mean? But Anti-police, they try... We've had screws put by the wood tyres and things like that. So that's why they were just checking to make sure...
But then obviously I'm sure you've got CCTV around, a sign saying you have and that. And obviously I'm walking around, my face is uncovered. I'm not making any efforts to hide myself. I'm not trying to be covert. Otherwise I wouldn't have made myself apparent to the person in the window. I would have, if I had nefarious intent with that information, I would have stood there and filmed it for as long as I could before I got noticed and not said anything. That would have been, if I had nefarious intent with it.
Yeah, I can see that. I think it's just, you pointed out a thing. Thank you very much. I'm going to go speak to my inspector now.
I appreciate that.
I'm hoping that you're not going to have any nefarious things about putting spikes.
If I was, I'm on your body cameras. My face is quite clear. Like, I don't think it would be difficult.
But I'm just saying, you know what I mean.
To figure it out.
We're going to go back. We're going to leave you to it.
Yeah. No, I fully appreciate it. Like, again, I'm not the anti-police. I'm anti-police like that who don't want to follow policies and think they're above doing what they're supposed to do. But you've been fantastic, and
it's people's experiences, isn't it?
Yeah, but as constables, you should approach every situation independently, shouldn't you? Really.
It is hard. We be human beings.
I know. I get that, but you are held to a much higher standard because of the job role that you take on. You know, you take an oath to the crown of this country, and we expect you to live your life to that.
Members of the public, harm us, punch us every day.
Yeah, sure, but but then we say as members of the public, we have police officers that want to do that to us, and it does happen. You can't deny that it does.
I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. Is
so we have the same thing.
We generalise.
Again, but I will give everybody their fair dues. Like I've had a polite conversation with you, and I've told you thank you for doing your job as you're supposed to do, following your policies, and I'll give everybody their fair dues, and that's all we expect from the police as well. You know, we expect that two-way street. At the end of the day,
we do try to work a two-way street.
The confidence in policing in this country is plummeting, and we're trying to build. We like to try and build the bridges rather than tear them down. But we don't want people that. If he's not willing to follow simple policies, how can we expect him to follow the ones that actually are way more serious? It starts with the basic level, and that's what it's like your school uniform. If you can't be bothered to do your school uniform, how can you wear your uniform at work? They don't expect that. It's an indicator of you're not going to be bothered to do your job properly or learn properly, and that's what it's about. If you can't follow your basic policies, how on earth can we have the confidence in you to do your job when it really matters? And that's the kind of people that we don't want in our police forces, is people that, if they can't follow the simple stuff, how can we trust them to do anything more serious when they've got powers that can demolish people's lives,
And support people.
Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, your powers can do great things, but they can also do very dangerous things, and if we can't trust you to use them properly, that's scary.
Okay, dokie. Well, we're gonna. Like I said, I would have loved to give you your first name.
Yeah, I know you would.
Be after your pink shirt or something.
Probably.
Like that.
Or my cologne, maybe. But yeah, no worries. Well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate your professionality.
Okay, thank you.
As the officers walk away, the auditor exposes the futility of the first officer's refusal by simply reading the collar number, QP16, from the epaulette on his shoulder. This moment perfectly captures the absurdity of the situation. Significant conflict has been created solely to avoid verbally stating information that was already publicly visible. It reveals a mindset focused on asserting authority rather than upholding professional standards. The auditor confirms that his complaint will focus specifically on this officer, ensuring the accountability the officer attempted to avoid.